Hello, good morning, everyone. Hope you are having a nice weekend so far. I wanted to come on here and answer anyone's questions about Reiki. So while everyone's coming on, I will talk about my own story with Reiki and how I ended up learning about Reiki. So I was at Long Island Healing Arts and Learning Center. I was learning about essential oils that day, actually, and I heard that they had a Reiki circle coming up. And I was like, oh, I wonder what that is. Like, I've never really, heard of Reiki and don't really know, anything about it. So I was like, let me, go to this Reiki circle. And I ended up going in, and first there was a meditation. And I remember at that time I was very, very new to meditation, and I was kind of squirming around, and I wasn't able to really get totally relaxed. But then they ended up putting up massage tables and doing Reiki on a couple people at a time, about a 15-minute or so session. And I remember after having this session just feeling so relaxed and feeling like I needed to know more about this. And I think right after that class, maybe actually day of, maybe I went home and in an email ended up emailing them, who knows. But I ended up knowing that I needed to learn more about this, and I ended up signing up for getting certified and attuned to it. So I ended up signing up for their Reiki 1 class almost immediately after my first circle there, because something about it just it was relaxed, but on a deeper level. I just felt like I needed to have this in my life for some reason, and I didn't really know why at the time. That was my first real experience with Reiki, and now I've been studying Reiki for 4 years. I started in June of 2015, actually, so this is around the anniversary of me first learning Reiki. My dog is actually crying at the door, so just bear with me. I'm going to go get him. Hi, baby. Come on. Okay. Can't be without me, this dog. So, okay. Hi, puppy. He's a little mush. So now I'll go into kind of textbook definition, teach you guys a little bit about, I don't want you licking my legs though, hon. Okay, I'll bring him on, since apparently this is the only way I can do a live if he's around lately. So this is Mikey, if you haven't seen him before. He's my little puppy boy, and he loves Reiki. That'll to answer any questions with that, you can perform Reiki on anyone and animals, and this is something I didn't end up writing down, but you can also perform Reiki on a space, so if you're attuned to it, of course. So first I'll go into what is Reiki, and then if you have any questions about it, just jump in and ask them. Also, if you aren't watching this live, you can leave it in the comments or direct message me. As someone that has been involved and immersed in Reiki for so long, to me, it's very second nature. So I'm kind of trying to go back to the perspective of knowing nothing about it. So if there's something that I missed and it's something that is on your mind, please ask, because from my perspective, I just kind of know it all about it, and so to try to go back to the perspective of not knowing anything about it is what I'm trying to do. So if there's something that is just to you is so new and so foreign, please feel free to contact me and ask me about it, because I've been so immersed in it for a long time now. So first, what Reiki is. So the word Reiki itself is broken into 2 different pieces. This is a Japanese word, Reiki. So Rei means God, source, spirit, or it also means light. And then Ki is similar to, if you've heard of Chi, in Chinese cultures and prana in Indian cultures. It's energy. It's the energy that everything is made up of in the world, and it's known as life force energy. So all living things have this energy, and it's just flowing through us. It's like, our kind of like our spirit, our just our energy flow. Similar to when we feel like our energy is really like low or our energy is really high, we'll end up saying that. That's what it means. It's that sort of energy that, it's how we feel internally. So Japanese, Reiki is a Japanese-derived holistic technique. It was developed around the 1920s by Mikao Usui, and it was also, even before that, practiced by some people, but he's really considered to be the main originator, even though there were people practicing it really before. And there's different cultures that practice a very similar technique, but it's not specifically Reiki. The main teachings of Reiki is to help block, because we have that life force energy within us, and we have 7 main points of energy, meridians, energy centers that are called chakras. And these are areas of our body where energy can either be really free-flowing, or the energy is too fast, or the energy is too slow. And it's kind of to bring these energy centers into balance. And these each of these 7 energy centers vibrate at a certain frequency. So each organ and area of our body is vibrating at a different frequency, and to get it back into that proper frequency to promote healthy homeostasis of healthy living is kind of what we're doing. So it's reducing stress, it's helping with relaxation, but it also can help the physical body. So it could be physical, spiritual, emotional, and mental. So it's on all of those planes. So it's a very gentle technique, although the result afterwards usually feels similar to how you'd feel after a massage, very relaxed. It's almost like an internal massage of your spirit and your energy. And you can either place the hands on the certain energy points. The person who's the practitioner can place their hands on the certain energy points, or it could be above the body. It could be within what's called the aura, which our body is all surrounded by an aura, and it goes out a certain number of feet, which I'd have to look up because I'm not sure, honestly. And this is also as effective, and the energy will still work. Reiki energy ends up going where it needs to go. Like someone could be focusing on your head, and meanwhile you can end up feeling it in your knee. It'll just go where it needs to go, and that's something that we end up learning more when we end up being attuned, of course. Let's see. So how does it help? I'm gonna try to put him down and see if he'll just chill and not lick me. We'll see. So he's licking me. Just lay down. Lay down. No. Stop it. Oh boy. Okay. So how it can kind of help is it really helps with those blocked areas of our energy in certain specific chakras. So the 7 chakras that are mainly from here to here, and I don't know if you can see, I was pointing to the lower pelvic area, like the root sort of areas. That's the root chakra. So it's from your base of your spine all the way up to your head, or the main chakras. So briefly, there's the root, the sacral, the solar plexus, the heart. Some people also say the higher heart, That would be then an 8th chakra. The throat, the third eye, and the crown. And then there's also another one that's like above the crown that people will say, and also below the root. There's tons of extra chakras, like these are just the main points that end up getting blocked. And this is basically like our life force energy is blocked in these certain areas. So similar to, like, it could manifest in a physical sort of pain, such as like a headache or some sort of a stomach issue, or your throat hurting you, or your thyroid or something like that. That energy could be blocked in those certain areas. Or it could be like emotional. So we end up storing emotional things that have happened to us inside of our body unless we properly release it. So it'll end up getting stored in a certain area. An example of this would be in your throat chakra. If you aren't speaking your truth and saying how you actually feel, that can be where you can end up having a blockage in your energy. So Reiki ends up helping with that. It can help with things that you consciously know about or things that you unconsciously don't know about. And looking through my notes to see if I missed anything. And so the practitioner, which would be me in this case, would be helping to balance your energy out and to help bring in the life force energy from spirit, source, divine. So nothing is really like from me. It all really just goes where it needs to go. Also for me, when I ended up becoming certified, I noticed that my connection to what I believe in, my faith, my God, ended up feeling a lot stronger when I was doing this. I ended up feeling a lot less of who I am as a person, and any sort of like ego thoughts were ended up dissipating a lot while doing Reiki and practicing Reiki. It was more of just feeling like God is like I am serving God. This is where I'm supposed to be. And feeling that sort of peaceful feeling is how I've felt when becoming attuned to Reiki. The main goal of Reiki is to allow for free-flowing energy, for your body to all be free-flowing energy. Hi. So I want to talk about what a session feels like, because that's a question that we end up getting a lot, is how is this going to feel? What is this going to be like for me? And I've had very various reactions, as have other Reiki practitioners that have given Reiki. Most, I'd say basically everyone will end up feeling really relaxed afterwards, really at peace. And it's possible that emotions can come up, such as crying or laughter sometimes, and people could end up feeling those sort of emotions come up from a session, especially if it's a private session, it's not a group circle sort of session. That has definitely happened, where people have ended up crying because they're really just releasing stuff they've been holding on. And how I can kind of say a story, an analogy for that would be when people feel like a weight is lifted off of their shoulders, and kind of that sort of release of that, and feeling very back to yourself and your own source energy. As I said before, it feels very similar to after being done with a massage, that sort of relaxed sort of feeling that you feel after a massage, and Usually after Reiki circles that I have had, and after sessions that I have had, I notice when people come in, their energy is very like tense and stressed, and usually when everyone leaves, they're saying stuff like, I really needed that, oh, that felt amazing, I'm so glad and thank you so much. And people have had various sort of things happen. So some people will end up seeing in their mind, it's because your eyes are closed during this session, and although you can end up having them open, I mean, it's of course always up to you, but I think to have the most benefit of a session, it's kind of eyes closed, focusing on your breath, and kind of just allowing the practitioner to do what they need to do, which is really just being open to receive positive energy, because that's all it really is. That's all Reiki really is similar to that of praying for someone and wishing someone the best. This is having that sort of concentrated into helping heal someone with laying of the hands, or laying of the hands close to the body, so like around here-ish area is usually where I end up going. And like a lot of time, especially for women, I'll end up working above in the aura for around the heart chakra. Just sometimes I'll end up putting their hands here, and then I will do the Reiki over it. Also, you don't need to be lying on your back. You can also be sitting in a chair, or with your face down, and it still works. It's still effective in the same way. Reiki will go where it needs to go, and our chakras are spinning discs around our entire body. So the heart here would be on the back here, in the same area. The chakras go all the way down the same way on the back. It's not only the front of the body. So that's a question that sometimes people will ask. How people learn Reiki. So that's a question sometimes too. So everyone has the ability to administer Reiki, but everyone cannot practice Reiki without going and getting attuned to Reiki by a Reiki master teacher. So you end up learning a lot about the history, and you end up receiving an attunement to Reiki that helps you be a divine channel for Reiki. You have to end up being attuned to it. You receive an attunement from a Reiki master teacher. A question and kind of an objection that I've received has been if it's religious. Is this a religious thing? So first of all, the developer of Reiki was Buddhist. However, it's not a religious belief. For me, it's connected me to my own religion of Christianity, of being a Roman Catholic. So for me, that's been my experience. I think it's a very, very spiritual practice. There is meditation involved. You end up learning something called the precepts. Basically, without sharing too much about the precepts, it's basically, it's all about being the best version of yourself and promoting just peace and harmony with people. There's really no sort of bad will or any sort of there's no sort of God, there's no sort of practice that like you're only going to a specific space. It's very much for any religion. I'm still getting licked constantly this entire time, so I'm just, stop it, honey. He's so distracting, but so cute. He's so cute. I'm gonna have him say hello again because he's seriously being a little bit of a butt. So, with it being religious or not, It is not. It just was founded by someone that's Buddhist. And Buddhism in of itself can be practiced without believing in any of those sort of deities that they have. There's a very non-denominational part of Buddhism, but that's a whole nother topic in itself. What are you doing? Hi. It's being so weird today. Just wants to be with me and have his belly rubbed. So Reiki ends up coming from the source, the universe, the higher power, from God. And the main thing with the precepts, which some people may think that having a sort of creed or precepts would end up being a religion. However, it's stuff like letting go of anger and worry and being kind to every living thing, which I think is a part of every positive religion anyway, and should be something that we should all be living by anyway, is to not be angry as best as we can and to try to be the best version of ourselves. Of course, this doesn't mean that people that practice Reiki are ever perfect and never get angry, because sometimes we end up having things that happen that, we also need to make sure that our boundaries are respected, for example, and things like that. So it isn't to say that all of a sudden you end up learning Reiki and then you're never angry, you never worry, and you're always kind and perfect, because that's not the case with anyone of any religion. But this isn't something that is a religion. It can easily be part of, and you see these sort of principles in every religion. For me, there's things like letting go of anger and letting go of worry and being kind to others as others would be to you. Those sort of things are in my faith, so I don't see any sort of thing with that objection and that sort of issue that I've seen. Just because something is founded by someone of a different religion doesn't make it that religion. So if you want, I would love to dive deeper into this for you if you'd like. If you want to talk about or have any concerns in that area, I'm totally down to have a discussion with you. I have kind of meditated on this a lot because for me that was a big point that and a big objection I was hearing. So that's why I wanted to bring it into this call. And it was something that I really thought about. And for me, this is something that's entirely still in line with my Catholic faith. And actually, I know nuns and Catholic teachers that have practiced it. So if there's anything like that for you, feel free to contact me. And I'd love to talk to you about it more in depth. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, it's all about being in harmony with others and to do the best that you can. And, it's all about having, like, that life force energy and balancing our energy. So, I don't know if there's any other questions or things with expectations of sessions. I currently offer half an hour sessions and hour sessions for people. If you'd like something like around a 15-minute session, you can join the Reiki Circle that I have in Massapequa, and I co-host that with Rhea and Phoenix, and we will end up bringing in connection and sound healing and stuff like that, and that's the third Tuesday of every month. So that's something, if you want to kind of try it out, ask some questions. We have a very circular format where people will end up asking us questions all the time, and they're totally welcome, and we totally love to answer questions that come up in the circle, because that's what we're there to help in circle. And I believe asking questions about Reiki is always good for any sort of objections that may be coming up for you and any sort of feelings that are coming up for you around Reiki, because it is fairly new, of course. It was as I said, developed in the 1920s. And then it went from being in Japan to then being moved over to Hawaii, and then later ended up being in the States. So it is still fairly new to United States, besides really Hawaii. Hawaii, it's been there for a decent amount of time now. But it hasn't been for here in the U.S., like the mainland of states, as long. So there's still a lot of questions about it. There's still kind of, what is this? Why would I need it? So like, why you would really need it is, well, for me, why I end up needing it is it helps really reduce my stress. And I've had a lot of stress and anxiety in the past, and I've continuously been working through these sort of feelings. I put him down, and then hi, I'm not picking you back up, honey buns. So he's so cute today, but a little bit of a nuisance for this video. I know, thank you. Hey, Jess. So why people would need a session? Like, why would I possibly want Reiki? What's the benefit? And some benefits you end up knowing right after it, and that feeling of relaxation, but some of it ends up happening as time goes on. You end up, like for me, I started to bring in meditation into my life, and how that has helped me reduce stress. And a piece of Reiki and learning Reiki is recommending to have a meditation practice. That's something that is big in Reiki, and to kind of sit and a Reiki practitioner, someone that's attuned to Reiki, can perform Reiki on themselves. They can do self Reiki after being in Reiki level 1. So this would be placing your hands on the certain areas of the body, it's just, it feels so good, and there's so many conscious and unconscious areas of our lives where we need to be back in balance, and this is an excellent form of self-care that I've learned, and it's usually been on like deeper levels than you can even realize, and that can really be put into words. You can only, like, from having this in my life for the past 4 years, I've really seen how much I've shifted, how much I've started to use my voice and speak about the things that I love and that I'm passionate about, to speak up for myself, to stop things like people pleasing, to start adding in things to take care of myself, and really learning about when my energy is low, when I end up needing to have that time for self-care. And it's really, it helps you end up being like more in tune with yourself and your own needs. And it's really like, it really ends up reconnecting you to your soul, to the part of you who is that source and divine, and that sort of Holy Spirit that's within all of us, that sort of source energy, that divine energy. However, I believe that all of the words really mean the same things. It's just because we ended up starting in different areas of the world, and so we all wanted to come up with names for the same exact thing. That's what my belief is. You can, of course, believe however you want. But for me, Reiki really connected me back to this sort of space, back into my faith and back into my spirituality. Something that also can be used in a session is crystals. So same as we have a certain frequency of our own energy, similar to like back to science class, all of the cells and the atoms of each thing on this earth has a certain frequency. So crystals end up vibrating at a certain frequency, and they end up vibrating at a certain frequency that certain areas of our body are supposed to be vibrating at what should be our set point. So that's why we use certain crystals for certain areas, certain chakras, certain parts of the body. That's what my understanding of it is, and I hope that kind of helps you with that. They work very hand in hand with sessions. Same with essential oils. They vibrate at a certain frequency, as is our body, helps with certain areas of the body. My favorite oils to work with during sessions are frankincense, lavender, and orange. Those are and Northern Lights. Oh, I guess also white angelica. I love all essential oils really, but those are kind of my top ones to use during sessions. I will use oils on a session if someone asks me, but I usually don't just do it without someone's permission, just because some people are kind of sensitive to smell and it's a little bit too much. So usually when it ends up being too much, it's because it's so far out of like what our frequency should be, and it's like just way too far away that we can't end up having this be part of it. I'm going to, I think I had a question from someone from earlier, so I just want to make sure that I answered it, since they aren't on here live. And also, as I've said in the beginning, if you think of any questions from this, or if you think of any questions afterwards, or if you think of something pops up in your head from listening to this, anything like that, you can comment on this video, or you can private message me. All of those are absolutely welcome and absolutely encouraged, because I have spaces for sessions and I would want to have them with you. And if for any reason you feel stuck and unsure about a session and why you should end up having them, what you would end up doing is kind of letting me know what you're going through and how you're feeling. And then I can kind of figure out, do you need Reiki? Do you need life coaching? Do you need something else? And then I'll direct you to one of my friends or colleagues that I know could help you. Because there's so many areas of the sort of spiritual and self-help and self-care space. And I know a lot of people in this space now. So I would end up finding and matching you with what would totally work for you. So what about it is fearful to you? Just so I can kind of see like what's scary about it, like what about it makes you nervous about going into a session. And while you're typing that, I'm going to look at, I was on a group coaching call, and someone was saying what they can expect from a first session. Okay, so the unknown. Yeah, I guess things can end up coming up from the past, right? That can end up being, hey love. So things can end up coming up from our past that end up being uncovered from kind of that release of that stagnant energy that's inside of your body. But that just means that it's time to start addressing something that is coming up. And in that case, if something like that comes up, of course I can coach and talk you through that and support you in that way. There's never been any sort of experience that, there's been one person out of maybe like 100% people that I've ever spoken to about Reiki, and for some reason she ended up receiving a headache after it, but she is the only person I've ever heard of that has had that experience, and I've spoken to like hundreds of practitioners and of people that have experienced Reiki. But for me, it has released tension in my jaw. It has released headache issues that I've had. and like that's been physical things that have happened for me. So I never would think like that. And honestly, I think that for that specific person, something was coming up that needed to be released in that sort of area, and that's why it was kind of disrupted. I also think that she should probably be putting some CPD on that area, and that she may receive headaches more, and that it was kind of unrelated to end up having Reiki. I think that that's a very much of an anomaly. But what exactly do you mean by the unknown? And definitely watch this from the beginning, because I go into a lot of the FAQs of Reiki, like what is Reiki and stuff like that. It's really helping to balance and to feel good, and like it's almost, it's that internal massage. It's helping us heal. It's healing our inner self, and it does it in a slow and gradual way. It's usually pretty calm, and usually over like the next week or so is when things start to like, oh, like, you know, I didn't realize like that I really wasn't living my life the way that I wanted to, and stuff like that. Like you'll start to have like these sort of realizations about yourself, and that's kind of where the coaching part comes in, because when these sort of feelings come up that we had subconscious beliefs that that we didn't realize, then I end up helping navigate the other side of it. Is once these your limiting beliefs kind of bubble to the surface, that's when I kind of help with coaching and that sort of area. So with what to expect during a first session, and I would say to just kind of come in feeling open, and it would be super relaxing and feel like peace, like, and very like connected to like grounded, and like feeling like refreshed, and feeling like you just had like a long night's sleep. And sometimes I've ended up feeling like sleepy after it, but for the most part, like food was tasting better. Like I wanted to like start to like take care of myself and nourish myself and give myself and treat myself how like I deserve to be treated. So receiving it from the wrong person. Okay, that's interesting. I have to click on my page to see your full comments. So just give me 2 seconds, because I have my laptop next to me, and I'll get that for you. Oh, it's just some dashes. I see the whole thing. Okay. Oh no, it says in people. Okay. So I've received energy from the wrong person before, and now that I've learned how to see dark energy in people. So what's very important for a Reiki practitioner, and why you want to choose who is going to be administering Reiki to you, would be to know that they're really in integrity with themselves, and that's someone that I would say is someone that has a meditation practice, that believes in and practices self-care, and routinely holds themselves accountable by working with a mentor, a coach, a guide, and has some sort of way that they're clearing their own energy, that they're using things like Sage and Palo Santo, that they're receiving Reiki sessions, and that they, are held to the accountability that it is to do the work. So there are practitioners that are out there that will say and promise that that they are doing the work, that they are practicing self-care, or that they are in integrity with their message, and sometimes those people actually aren't in integrity with, thank you, love. I'm glad you're open to receive it from me. Yeah, to really be discerning on someone that you really feel that you vibe with and that is in integrity. A couple weeks ago, for example, I noticed that that my energy wasn't to the level that I would want to give Reiki sessions. I noticed that I needed to have more time for self-care and I needed to step away. So I ended up saying, I'm not practicing any Reiki sessions right now for this week. To please I'll get back to you when I can. And I think that's important. I think knowing what your energy is as an energy practitioner is key in the integrity of healing. It's a big responsibility, and it's a big piece of it. It's a big piece of it to have that. And I don't, receiving it from someone that isn't fully healed, I don't think it's going to be that you're receiving like energy from hell or something like that, or like any like sort of dark energy type of a thing. I think that sometimes you can tell when a person isn't fully healed and in integrity. However, I don't think that anything bad would happen to you from a session. I think that with someone that's the wrong person, it still would be Reiki energy and go where it needs to go, and help where it needs to help. But you can feel that discomfort of that person while receiving that energy session if they're not in integrity with their message and with their training, because any energy healer should be sort of taking that time for that spiritual hygiene, mental hygiene, and taking care of themselves and have that self-awareness. Does that kind of help? But we can, and for example, with things of feeling bad energy or feeling negative energy from people, the example that I like to say with this is, picture yourself walking into a room and you can tell like that like the vibe in there is not good. You like do not want to go there, and like the people are negative, like, and you can already tell when you walk into the room. That is the sort of thing that I think that that Jess is talking about here, and what she ended up experiencing during her session is that she can really feel that something was going on with that person during her session, that person wasn't fully healed and wasn't a clear and open channel, but really was dealing with their own shit at the time and really should have. Sorry if there were kids in anyone's room and I just cursed, whoops. But that they were dealing with their own things, and you can feel that. You can feel that sort of energy when that person isn't fully healed and when they aren't taking that time for their own spiritual hygiene. And so I think that that's what you felt with that session that you were feeling. But that's okay. I don't think anything bad happened to you. I don't think that all of a sudden now, like, you have evil energy inside of you or anything like that. I think that we can really, we're all energetic beings. We all have this life force energy, and we can all kind of feel when other people's energy is off. So with that, that's why we end up getting sessions, is to help take care of ourselves. And, as I'm recommending things like Reiki and coaching, discernment is super, super crucial in this. And, pick someone that you vibe with and totally will work for you. If I'm not that person, I know some wonderful Reiki master teachers, either ones that I've learned from or ones that I work with. So no matter what, I would end up finding someone that vibes with you. I am based in West Islip. I have a table. This table can move if you really, really need. Something that I didn't say is that this can help with anything. I did kind of say it. I touched on it in the beginning, but I'll really kind of go more in depth. This can help with really anything. It can help with any sort of physical issue, any sort of, it helps like in congruency, maybe the right word, not sure, with modern medicine. It is practiced in multiple hospitals, Reiki, and it'll work in congruency with certain like modern, like it's in certain hospitals. It's like pretty world renowned now at this point. Can it help with a cold? Absolutely. So it can help with really any physical ailment. Something like I've had issues with my teeth, and then I'm kind of focused on there. I've helped with migraines on myself. Of course, FDA crap. So I won't go too much into that. But yeah, it can totally help with any sort of issue. It can help with discomfort, I will say, to kind of still be, you know what I'm trying to say here. But for me, it's helped really, really a lot on the emotional level. I think that it can help with the physical as well, and it can help from any range of ailments, along with modern medicine. I'm not going to say that I'm a doctor, blah, blah, disclaimer, but I think that it's very helpful to use both Reiki and, yes, I'm trying to be compliant here with all the nonsense because, this does work with modern medicine very nicely. And it's beautiful. It's something where this is divinely guided. This is bringing our life force, energy, our whole being into balance and feeling relaxed and feeling, any sort of beliefs and subconscious things coming up. It's such a peaceful and gentle technique with a lot of profound results for people. I know that for me, this was the beginning of Reiki was the beginning of my journey into feeling, I'll come to Riverhead for you, love. I'll come. I'll bring the table. We can hang out, hang with your cat, get some dinner. It'll be fun. I'll do it on a day when I'm out in Ronkonkoma or something, so I'm a little closer. And we'll do that. We'll make a day of it. There's also distance healing sessions. I don't practice them as much. Oh, you have a table. Oh, that's perfect. Then absolutely. Because lugging this thing is a little bit of a pain, but I will do it for people that have issues with transportation, stuff like that, especially. So you can also do distance healing. So I again kind of bring this back to prayer for me. Similar to when we're praying for someone that isn't in the same room as us, and you kind of are sending that intention of love and that they're okay and sending them healing. And prayers, I believe, do work. I believe that this brings healing to people. And then I would end up being on phone or Zoom with someone and have them kind of lay down and be comfortable somewhere, typically in their bed or a comfortable space for them. And I will perform Reiki through distance. And that's something that I'm absolutely open to. I will say and be honest with you that I haven't had a session in this yet where I have given Reiki through distance. However, I have received a distance Reiki session. And it was very peaceful. I ended up feeling really connected to myself, and I felt really balanced after it, and very relaxed, and very, like, relaxed is typically a very widely used word after having a Reiki session. So if you feel like you're getting Reiki from me right now, my hands are actually super, super hot. And so it's very possible that I am delivering Reiki, because as I am talking about Reiki, I usually end up feeling really lit up and that I'm giving it. So typically practitioners will end up feeling really hot as this energy is going through us, like to the person on the table, and their hands, which have been attuned to Reiki, because this is a chakra as well. The palm chakra is a chakra. So this ends up getting attuned during a session. Oh, thank you, love. Says just seeing your face and hearing your voice. So these are chakras, and they end up getting attuned during the attunement process, which of course is left to Reiki practitioners, and so I'm not going to go into much detail with that. However, that ends up being a space that we end up getting attuned to Reiki, because these are the areas, like, our hands are where we're connecting with you on the table, and they end up, most of the time, for most people, they end up being really, really hot. However, getting cold Reiki is possible, and it does happen. So the hands could be really cold, and or you can feel it. Even though my hands are hot, you can feel it as cold, and it doesn't mean that it isn't working. That doesn't mean that anything's going wrong. That doesn't mean anything really differently. Sometimes it just needs to be delivered in a different way, similar to sometimes you apply heat on a wound and sometimes you apply ice on a wound. Sometimes you need hot Reiki and sometimes you need cold Reiki, and both are totally fine and both are healing. It's not that if you only are cold, it doesn't work. It's not that if my hands don't get burning like a furnace, that it didn't work. It doesn't mean any of those sort of things. But usually a tangible way that people can end up, if they feel a lot of heat, that's a common experience for people. That's typically what will end up happening, but it doesn't mean that if it's not happening and that it's not working, or that you're not experiencing Reiki. It's very much a trust and surrender practice, where we just kind of are taught to just trust and that the Reiki is going to work, and believing in that. And for the person that's on the table, the only thing that they really need to do for a session is for them to just relax and be open to receive relaxation and be open to receive something that's divinely guided and beautiful, and then you end up feeling what you need to feel. It could be, sometimes it's something that has come up that was a hard memory or a hard experience to go through, but it's something that needs to be healed, so that can come up, and that's okay. Sometimes it could be that you see purple, and sometimes what could come up is that you end up seeing something that you're afraid of. That happened in our recent circle, that someone had a big fear of a certain animal, and they ended up being with that certain animal and not feeling that fear anymore of that animal, and sort of working through fear. It could be really applied to anywhere. It could be that during a session you think of a loved one that's far away, and all of a sudden you feel really close to them and connected to them. I ended up receiving Reiki after my dog passed, and I felt really connected to her when she passed, and just that unconditional love of my little puppy friend. And so I had that during a session. Also during that session I cried, especially because that was very recent at that time, but I needed that sort of healing, that love energy. A question that may come up is if it's safe to use while pregnant. Absolutely, this is totally safe, and it's actually really fun for the practitioner to administer Reiki on someone that is pregnant, because you can end up feeling the energy of the person that you're healing, and you can also feel the energy and the aura and everything of the actual baby, which is so cool. And usually babies end up loving Reiki. I don't really think that there's any time where a baby didn't love it. And similar, like you could think of how like a woman will place their hands just on their stomach and just kind of like talk to their baby and stuff. It's the same sort of thing that we would be doing. We would be placing the hands around there. And people that have had Reiki during their pregnancy have ended up having easier pregnancies. So I absolutely think it's wonderful for people that are pregnant and totally safe. And for anyone that has any sort of really tough illnesses, it actually works hand in hand with whatever modern medicine treatments that you are doing, such as cancer and things like that. They actually recommend Reiki for people that are going through chemo and things, that they think it works very hand in hand with it. I don't know if there's any. Oh wait, I think they had one more question. Basically, like what it's for is that it's an energy healing that really just kind of helps us spiritually, mentally, emotionally evolve. I went through what the process was like earlier. The multiple different ways that you can receive Reiki. And if there's any questions that come up for you that I didn't address during this call, let me know. I'm going to stay on for like another minute or so, just in case there's anything that came up right now. But feel free when you're watching the replay or watching this in any other areas that I end up posting it, because I may. Can CBD help? I have actually had a session on someone that had discomfort in their back, and I put the Canaway salve on it, which Jess knows and loves, and I actually put that on the area, and then was doing Reiki on that area. And she said that it was the first time that she was able to really move that specific area in years. So absolutely, I believe that it would help for during a session. And I always believe that CBD is beneficial. I totally will do that for someone if they request it on a certain area. If you just want it, let me know, and I'll bring it. If it's elsewhere, if it's here, I have salve on hand all the time. Canaway is lovely, and I love using it in my practice and on myself. CBD is so good. Definitely helps with a lot of areas of life, especially any sort of pain. It's really good for that, and stress and anxiety. But should I be saying that? I don't know. Yeah, I love using it in sessions. I think that so Reiki can be above the body, like about here, or I could literally touch certain areas. As I was saying before, on women, I won't end up touching here unless they tell me I can. I will either put their hands here and then I will place my hands there on top of their hands, or I will just work on the body, like above the body, and it still works, it still flows, it still goes where it needs to go, it still does its thing. That energy is just going, and it feels good. It still feels fine just working off of the body. I like to work more on the body, but no, there's no massage. If you feel afterwards as if you had a massage, but there is no massage. I would end up putting that CBD salve on you and rubbing it in, but there's no rubbing. It's just placing a hand on an area. That's what laying on the hands on means. So it would just be placing the hands where they need to be in the certain chakra points. So I would just place it, and it's very gentle, very soft, kind of like, very, like almost like barely touching, sometimes cupping over an area, like that. With the CBD before, it has helped me with those sort of things. So that's my own experience, and I'll leave that at that. That's been my own experience with the CBD helping me. So just want to make sure that that's clear. Yeah. I don't know if there's any other questions. That's all the questions that I received ahead of time. Yeah, that's just been my experience with the CBD, that it's helped me with my own stress and my own pain. So you can research that more, and I highly recommend that. But yeah, I don't know if there's any other questions. Anything that comes up for you, let me know. Yeah, you're welcome. So, yay. All right, I think that I answered everyone's questions that are on here. If I didn't answer your questions in this video, please comment, message me, any sort of way to get in touch with me. Can I come now? Unfortunately, I can't come today. I have a wedding to go to today. But I would love to another time. But yeah, I have a wedding to go to today, so my husband and I are spring cleaning, and I'm gonna actually go run, and I'm getting back into that habit myself, and holding myself accountable for my own self-care, my own needs, and then we're going to a wedding. So I actually can't do today, but I'd love to do soon. Any interest in a session, either distance, if you have more questions about distance, because I know I just kind of briefly went over it, you can message me about that. And I think, thank you. I think I touched everything that I can think of, but again, this is coming from similar to when you're someone that like meal preps every day, like how to show someone else like what meal prepping is. You're like, oh, it's so second nature to me. I don't really know what to say. So that's what I very much experienced with creating this video and creating these FAQs for you. So if you have something that that you're questioning with Reiki, or some objections that are coming up for you, I'm absolutely always open to discuss them, either through message or phone, whatever you prefer, or email too. I have email unleashlightwithin@gmail.com. You can contact me through comment or message, and then we can chat, and I'll of course give you my number, and we can kind of discuss further if that's something that you feel you need. I am absolutely open to address any concerns. Reiki has been so beautiful for me. It has really shifted me into finding who I am, what my purpose is here, and it's all been very like subtle nudges, like just little like messages, little urges, little like oh, you should do this now, oh, like this is where to go. And like I just was getting these kind of messages of like while in meditation, I was kind of getting these sort of inspirational nudges of, oh, like this is your next step, like this, and things just started to fall into place for me. So it's worked very well for me, and of course in line with coaching as well, kind of diving deeper into things. So let me know if you have any questions, if you want to book a session, if you want to book a call discussing it. Anything I am absolutely open to and would love to hear from you. All right, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to speak with you soon. Bye.